Mike Pence will become vice president a week from Friday, and he's always been clear about his moral foundations.
I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican, in that order.
Today, he officially relinquishes power as Indiana's governor, capping off 4 years in which he struggled to balance the state's needs against his own values. Evan McMorris Santoro went to the Hoosier state to see Pence's governing style up close.
Governor Mike Pence wasn't doing a great job balancing his traditional conservative values with the modern problems of Indiana when Donald Trump picked him as his running mate. His approval rating was in the 40s, a number that put him near the bottom of governors. And his administration was widely criticized after Pence had to backpedal on the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. The law allowed a business to deny services based on religious belief. But many saw it as discriminatory, and that led to corporate boycotts and national scorn.
Let me say I believe this is a clarification, but it's also a fix. It's a fix of a bill that, through mischaracterization and confusion, has come to be greatly misunderstood.
How Pence walks the line between his morality and tough political decisions tells a lot about how he governs. No episode from his governorship is more instructive than the HIV outbreak that hit rural Scott County in 2015. IV drug users were quickly spreading the disease by sharing needles. The outbreak was first detected in January, but it wasn't until more than 2 months later that Pence signed an executive order authorizing a needle exchange. He publicly worried over his opposition to exchanges, telling reporters he prayed over what to do before relenting.
I'm giving the authority to local officials today to establish a focused short-term program on the basis of a public health emergency. I don't believe that effective anti-drug policy involves handing out paraphernalia to drug users by government officials. I reject that.
Just as the science predicted, the needle exchange worked and the HIV rate in Scott County plummeted. Indiana State Senator Jean Lysing is a conservative Republican, a registered nurse, and a big fan of Mike Pence. She understands Pence's reluctance.
He publicly struggled with accepting the idea of needing to have needle exchange programs. Do you think that we're going to see anything more about like that struggle is going to come up? You think that's done now?
I think that's done. I think that he had to work through the same thing that some legislators had to work through, and that's that whole issue of whether or not you're enabling addicts. But I think that the governor would certainly be comfortable now with where we are on this and probably take a more aggressive approach on what are we going to do for a positive outcome to treat the addict.
But the fact remains that in Scott County, the virus was allowed to spread while Pence went through what he freely admits was a personal moral calculus. His need to balance faith and public health leaves health experts wary.
The economic infrastructure in Scott County, and if you think about the healthcare costs associated with the individuals living with HIV and that are also co-infected, I can't imagine any company would be willing to take that on.
The legislature wrote a law allowing other counties to open needle exchanges, like this one in Bloomington. Pence signed it. But the law is very careful. It doesn't allocate any state money to help cover the costs, and only allows needle exchanges when an epidemic of HIV or hepatitis C can be proven to be ongoing.
We could do a really good job, and we could get hepatitis C levels down to a non-epidemic status. And as soon as we do that, we'll no longer be eligible to do needle exchange. So we will have worked our way out of being able to continue to work. And clearly that leaves us in a reactive position.
When faced with the HIV outbreak, Pence proved his adage about being a Christian and conservative above all else. The result was what health experts call a half measure at best. Soon he'll be one of the decision makers on national issues, like judicial appointments and the funding of Planned Parenthood, where his religion will surely play a role.